Hi guys, I'm Jelly Book Fanatic and today I'm going to film my May TBR. As we all know, I don't film TBRs, it's common knowledge. I don't like setting myself goals to read. Apart from the amount of books I am planning on reading, but I don't pick the specific books I want to. Actually, that's not entirely true. I pick books for challenges, like monthly challenges, but I don't pick books in a video because I feel kind of pushed to read them, and with challenges I can always switch books out and I can't do that with a film TBR. But in the month of May I am not doing a monthly challenge, and it's actually a month wherein I am going to reread all the books I love, and I am going to read books I've been wanting to read for so long, and I was so excited about filming this TBR. I wanted to share this with all of you. The first two books are actually the books I am most excited to talk about, and the first one I'm going to talk about is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alire-Sanz. This is obviously a reread for me. I have read this book one time, and that was in 2014, and I fell in love with it and with this author. And I have read many more books by Benjamin Alire-Sanz after that, and I bought this copy not too long ago actually. It was in my latest book haul, which was in March or in February. And I am so excited to finally dive back into this beautiful, beautiful book. Also, there is a sequel coming out from Dante's perspective, and I don't know when that is coming out actually. I think next year, something like that. But I feel like a reread is necessary, and maybe I'm even planning on rereading this book every single year from now on. But if you don't know what Aristotle and Dante is about, Aristotle and Dante is obviously a book about Aristotle and Dante, and these are two boys who get to meet each other at the side of a pool and they become friends, but they are so entirely different from each other. It is endearing to see them become friends, and it's basically a book about them as friends and the adventures and their family dynamics and just them as people. The second book is also one of my all-time favorite books, and that is All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. I read this book last year, 2015, and also I fell in love with it. After that, I read Velvet Jean Learns to Drive, which is a historical fiction adult novel by Jennifer Niven, and I fell in love with that also, but not as much as I fell in love with All the Bright Places, which is Jennifer Niven's first young adult novel. This book is about a girl called Violet and a boy called Theodore Finch, but his nickname is Finch, and Theodore rescues Violet from the ledge of this bell tower before she commits suicide by jumping off it, and everyone thinks Theodore was the one wanting to jump after that, and Violet and Finch encounter each other many more times and become friends and eventually fall in love with each other, and it's a really lovely romance, but it's also a really accurate, I feel, and realistic depiction of depression and suicide. For the next book, I could literally not control myself when I saw it was on sale, and that is Illuminate by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. So I haven't read Illuminate before, but the last couple of months I have been so interested in picking this one up. I had to buy it. Like, I normally don't even buy books before I read them. I buy them obviously, but I buy them as ebooks or I buy them from the library. But this one I just had to buy because it is such a beautiful book. And the format kind of reminds me of Night Film, which is one of my favorite books of all time. And it's kind of told through these documents and emails and just chat messages and everything like that, and I can't wait to dive into this because I am so excited. Like, I wasn't interested in this before, but then I watched some booktubers video and I don't even know which person it was anymore, but I want to sincerely thank them because they really piqued my interest for this overly hyped novel. And I honestly couldn't even tell you what it's about, apart from the fact that it's a science fiction novel, a young adult science fiction novel, and that the main character is called Katie, and her love interest is called Ezra, and I guess it's their love story, but I honestly wouldn't know it. Like, you could look Illuminate up on Goodreads because I am not the most trustworthy person to talk about this book. Another book which is also my latest book, you just saw it, but Another book that was in my latest book haul as well was a book I picked up at a secondhand bookshop, and it's The Knife of Never Letting Go, which is the first book in the Chaos Walking trilogy by Patrick Ness. This is the Dutch version of it, but I'm going to do a buddy read with Katie from Katie Loves to Read. This will be my first buddy read ever, and I'm so excited. It's quite a chunker, but I believe we can get through this slowly, quickly. We haven't determined how many pages we will read a day, but I honestly don't know what it is about as well, but I read The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness, which I adored, but people who have read other things by Patrick Ness thought The Rest of Us Just Live Here was his worst novel. It was not bad, but it was his worst novel, and I absolutely loved that one, so I can't wait to dive into his other books. But I think this book is about a boy actually, called Todd Hewitt, and he lives in this village where everyone can hear everyone's thoughts, but then there suddenly is this girl whose thoughts are masked. He can't hear her thoughts. I'm so excited, I just want to pick this book up because I love The Rest of Us Just Live Here. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been interested in this one because I never was before I read another book by Patrick Ness. I talked about the next novella in my last weekly reading vlog, I believe, but I read Legion by Brandon Sanderson last month, and this is a bind-up of two novellas, and I'm going to read The Emperor's Soul in May because I borrowed this from the library, and I don't know, this was a really surprising pick for me because I just went to the library and I just picked a book, and I picked this one. This wasn't even on my TBR, but I saw this and I was like, I want to read something else by Brandon Sanderson because I read Warbreaker and The Final Empire, and this was quite short. It's two novellas, so it's not a huge commitment for me because I want to read his other books, but they're all so huge. The next book I'm planning on reading is the fourth and final book in the summer series by C.J. Duggan, and that is Forever Summer, which is about Adam and Ellie. I can't say more about that actually because it's obviously a fourth book. Adam and Ellie are both in the first book. I see them throughout all of the series and I was really shipping them, and I honestly cannot wait to read about them because I just know they're going to be my ultimate favorite couple, and I love it that CJ Duggan has waited until the last book to couple them off together. I just love all the couples in these books, and I love the friendships they all have with each other, and I'm going to be so sad when the series is over because I also read C.J. Duggan's Paradise Duology, and that one is also over, and she has another series, a fantasy series I believe, but I'm not interested in that. I just want her new adult, set in Australia, contemporary novels, but I don't know if she has any coming out. What I don't get though is why it says on the cover, it says a summer series spin-off novel, right here it says that. It's a book in the summer series, so I don't get how it is a spin-off novel. The next book is a review copy that's going to come out nearing the end of May, and that is It's Okay to Love, Crying is Cool Too by Nora McInerney Permort. I think it's an Irish author by looking at the name of it, but I don't know. This is actually a memoir, and I don't read many memoirs, but this one is about the author, Nora, and her husband, I believe, who was called Aaron, and he died of a brain cancer. And this is a memoir about her journey with Aaron. To love, I'm going to cry. I can't wait to read this because the synopsis honestly spoke to me, and I know I'm going to cry. And then a book I am so excited for by an author I adore, and that is Summer Lost by Ellie Condie. This is a new release by Ellie Condie. Isn't this cover beautiful? But if you don't know Ellie Condie is the writer of the Match trilogy, which you may have heard of. A lot of people hate the trilogy. I adored it. I read it when I was younger, and I don't know if I would like it if I read it now, but I adored it back then, and I can't wait to read something else by Ellie Condie because I've never read anything else by her after that. But this is a contemporary novel about a girl called Seda, and she comes to this town where she meets a boy, Leo, and it's basically a contemporary novel about her working at a concession stand at a festival in that village, and her relationship or her friendship with Leo. And there's also a mystery going on about a Hollywood actress, I believe, who disappeared. And I almost forgot another book I'm so excited about. I wanted to read this for months, even longer than I wanted to read Illuminate, and that is The Diviners by Libba Bray. The Diviners is about a girl called Evie who is a psychic, I believe, and it's set in the roaring 20s, 1920s, and I honestly don't know much more than that, but the setting, the 20s, is Yes, I want to read something set in the 20s. Like, it's just something I would really like to read. Also, the cover is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I love this cover. And I heard a lot of good things about this book. I've never read anything before by Libba Bray, but I really want to, and this is going to be my first foray into that. But I've been really excited about this one and about Illuminate, and I have no reason why, because I certainly wasn't interested in these books that I've never had before. Like, I was never interested in these books until I suddenly was. So those are the books that are set in stone for my May TBR that are going to be, like, changes in this, probably. I'm really excited about my whole TBR, which includes 64 books right at this moment, but I'm going to delete some from my TBR for my May releases video. But anyway, enough about that. I'm really excited about all of these books. I really want to read all of them. There could be books added, probably, because I'm probably going to read all of these, but there's mostly going to be books added that I don't want to talk about right now, because I don't know for sure if I will get to them or not. Anyway, I don't even know how many books I picked, because I all set them back in place and stuff, but okay. Anyway, thank you for watching. Goodbye!